So year 5, we are now on to chapter 13, and I was just thinking to myself, I don't know how you are managing to just have a chapter a day, because when I'm reading a book, I end up just sitting there until I've read the whole thing. I cannot just read a little bit and then put it down. So you must be getting very frustrated every day. So chapter 13. Thanks. Alba turns back to smile at me as she reaches the top of the stairs. What for? Lifting the guardrail, Alba wheels her chair off the stair lift. That was the first time I've danced since the accident, she replies. Since Mum died. I'd forgotten how much fun it could be. Alba nudges her bedroom door open, wheeling herself forward as I follow close behind. Grandad Joe was snoring in his armchair when we got back home. The first Back to the Future film on the TV as we sneaked past the living room door. Now it was time for me to find out what Alba really meant when she said she knew what I had to do to find Mum again. Do you still miss her? I ask. Every day, she replies. Alba glances up at the square of stars shining through the skylight window. Sometimes I sit here in the dark, looking through my telescope at the stars, and I remember all the things she told me. It makes me feel like she's still here with me now. I think about how close I am to finding Mum again, and a tingle of excitement runs down my spine. Then Alba clicks the light switch on, and we both see that something is very wrong. The telescope is still there, pointing out of the attic window, but the piles of books and comics have all been tidied away, and in the middle of the room there's no sign at all of my cardboard box. What's happened? I ask, instantly starting to panic. Where's the box? Alba is holding her head in her hands. Grandad Joe must have tidied my room. Inside the shed, the cardboard box is lying on its side, half crushed beneath a pile of recycling. Next to it is a green caddy filled with food waste, a browning banana sticking out of the top, and at the back of the shed I can see Mum's quantum computer shoved out of the way on the workbench with the Geiger counter lying on top. It looks like it's ready to be dismantled as it sits there surrounded by the rest of Dad's abandoned projects and DIY jobs. I walk over to the laptop and press the power button, but the screen stays blank. The battery must have run flat, just like any hope I had that I'd see Mum again. I'm sorry, Alba says, wheeling her chair to the workbench. I didn't realise that Grandad Joe would start tidying my room without me. When he saw the cardboard box, he just thought it was some of Dad's old stuff ready for recycling. I don't say anything back. The quantum banana theory was the one chance I had of finding a parallel universe where Mum was still alive. With the experiment ruined, I'm stranded here. No chance of finding Mum. No way back home. Alba looks up at me. In the dim light of the shed, I see my own eyes staring back, a glint of determination in her gaze. We can fix this, she says, and while we do, I'll tell you how quantum physics can help you to find Mum. With the laptop plugged into the charger and the banana rescued from the recycling, Alba starts to explain what she means. Atoms and particles can behave in really strange ways. I know all this, I snap, struggling to straighten out the caved insides of my cardboard box. One corner of the box feels a bit damp and smells funny, like a cat's done a wee in it. Sometimes the same particle can be in 2 different places at once. That's how scientists knew that parallel universes could exist. Frowning, Alba gives me the same look that Dad does whenever a TV interviewer interrupts him to ask a really stupid question. That's not what I was going to tell you, she scowls in reply. As Alba is currently sitting next to some heavy-duty tools, including a claw hammer and a particularly lethal-looking pair of pliers, I quickly shut my mouth and let her get on with the explanation. The weirdest thing about quantum physics, she says, isn't that the same particle can be in 2 different places at the same time, but that 2 different particles can act like they're the same particle. What's so special about that? Scientists call it quantum entanglement, Alba explains. It's when 2 particles are joined together in a strange and peculiar way. Anything that you discover about one of the particles instantly becomes true for the other particle too, no matter where it is. You can take these two particles to opposite ends of the universe, but they stay connected. If you find out that one of the particles is spinning, then this means that the other particle will be spinning in exactly the same way, even though it's on the other side of the universe. It's like there's some sort of telepathic link between the entangled particles that lets them communicate faster than the speed of light. I can't stop myself from interrupting Albie again. That's impossible, I tell her, remembering a fact I learnt from one of my dad's TV programs. Albert Einstein said that nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. Not even weird mind-reading particles that put each other in a spin. It's against the laws of science. Not according to quantum physics, Albert replies. The particles share the same quantum state, even though they're billions of light years apart. Albert Einstein called it spooky action at a distance because he thought it was so impossibly weird, but scientists have carried out experiments that prove that quantum entanglement really exists. By the time Alba has got to the end of her explanation, I'm more confused than when she started. My brain hurts. Quantum physics is giving me a headache. It's time to cut to the chase. How's this going to help me find Mum? Don't you see? Alba says, sounding more like Dad by the minute. If entangled particles can stay connected at opposite ends of the universe, then why not across parallel universes too? She picks up the pliers from the workbench, and for a second I'm worried that she's going to do some DIY on me for interrupting her again. But instead, she waves them in the air. The particles in these pliers must be entangled with the particles in the same pair of pliers in another parallel universe. If you want to find the other pair, you just need to take a quantum look at these and they'll tell you what you need to do now. So to find Mum, we need something that belonged just to her, something precious, like a ring or a necklace maybe. We'll be able to use this to find the parallel universe where she still has it, the world where she's still alive. Inside my heart, a tiny spark of hope flickers into life. Something precious that belonged just to Mum. Digging deep inside my pocket, I pull out the ammonite that Mum and me found on the moors. Its golden spiral shape glints in the half-light as Alba gasps in recognition. Dad was going to make this into a necklace for Mum, I tell her, but he never got round to it. He did in this universe, she says, reaching out to touch the fossil as if she can't quite believe that it's real. Mum used to wear the necklace every day, but after she died, Dad lost his temper and threw the necklace against the wall. He said it was too painful to see it lying around without Mum there to wear it. The ammonite smashed into 1,000 pieces. Alba's fingers reach up to her neck, pulling out a golden chain from beneath her t-shirt. This is all that I've got left. I stare at the necklace, a loop of wire dangling emptily from the golden chain. Then I look down at the 100-million-year-old fossil in the palm of my hand. Somehow it feels even more precious to me now. So what do we do? First, we use the ammonite from your universe to fix Mum's necklace, Alba says, holding out a hand for this. Almost reluctantly, I hand this over. Taking the chain from round her neck, Alba places this next to the fossil on the workbench. Then, picking up the pliers, she carefully twists the loop of wire round and round the ammonite, creating a nest to hold it in place. Such a simple thing to do, but somehow my dad never found the time. Alba turns back towards me, the spiral fossil shimmering as it dangles from the necklace chain. It looks just like it used to, she murmurs. The same necklace that Mum wore every day. It's stupid, but I can't help feeling a little bit jealous of Alba. In this parallel world, Dad found the time to make Mum the necklace and cared enough about Mum to smash it into pieces when she was gone. What else have I missed out on? Maybe I was born in the wrong universe. I take the necklace out of Alba's hand, staring at the ammonite as it spirals round. It's time to find the right one. So what do we do with it? Alba reaches up to the workbench to grab what looks like a thermos flask covered with wires, cables and duct tape. We put it inside this. What's that? I ask. To be honest, I'm not sure how putting a fossil inside a high-tech flask of tea will help me find my Mum. It's a quantum entangler, Alba replies. I built it myself. It can calculate the quantum state of any particles that are put inside. She lifts up the dangling USB cable sticking out of the bottom of the flask. If we hook this up to Mum's quantum computer, then it should be able to pinpoint the exact parallel universe where the other necklace is located. And fingers crossed, you'll find Mum wearing it there. I can't stop myself from grinning. If what Alba's saying is true, she's invented a quantum sat-nav that can take me straight to Mum. It might sound big-headed for me to say this, but this female version of me is seriously amazing. How did you end up such a brain box? I ask her. You're just as brainy as me, Alba says with a grin. Our smiles a perfect match. We both invented the quantum banana theory after all. All we need to do now is rebuild the experiment with the quantum entangler hooked up too. That should do the trick. What are we waiting for? I say, desperate to find out if this really will work. Let's get entangling. As we work together to set the experiment up, I start to realise what it would be like to have a sister or brother. Because things were a bit tricky for me health-wise when I was born, Mum and Dad decided not to risk having another baby. I didn't mind. Mum was always there for me, inventing brilliant games, answering all my questions, making me feel like I was never alone. But now I've got nobody. Apart from Dad, that is, and he's never around. As Alba unscrews the top of the flask and places the necklace inside, I think about how it would be quite fun to have a sister. Someone to hang out with, to talk to look out for when things went wrong. Alba screws the lid back on top of the flask. Someone who would share their quantum entangler with me. Let's try it, she says, looking up at me excitedly. I plug the quantum entangler's USB cable into Mum's laptop, using the spare port next to where the Geiger counter is hooked up. Then, with my heart thudding in my chest, I press the power button on. The laptop screen lights up instantly, and I see a stream of numbers blurring into one, an avalanche of data scrolling endlessly. I look back at Alba, her face lit up by the same glow. It works, she says, almost sounding like she can't believe it herself. But how? I ask. This data is coming from the Large Hadron Collider in my universe. How can the laptop still be connected to the grid? This is a quantum computer, Alba replies. It works by using copies of itself in other parallel universes to crunch the data. That's what makes it so powerful. It's not just connected to the grid in your universe, but every parallel universe. Alba's explanation is cut off by the sound of a voice outside. Alba, are you in there? It's Grandad Joe. I exchange a panicked glance with Alba. It would be impossible to explain to Grandad what we're doing inside Dad's workshop. There's no time to talk and only one place to hide. Lifting the laptop from the workbench, I climb inside the rebuilt cardboard box as Alba plays for time. Coming, Grandad, she shouts out. I'm just sorting out the recycling. As I crouch at the bottom of the box, trying to ignore the smell of cat wee, Alba hisses at me. Albie! Looking up, I see her holding out the banana she's rescued from the recycling caddy. Its yellow skin is almost completely covered with brown splotches, and it wouldn't win any fruit bowl beauty competition, but it's the missing piece I need for the experiment to work. Thanks, I say, reaching out to grab hold of it. I put the banana down next to the Geiger counter in the corner of the box, then I look back up at Alba. For everything. Good luck, she says, biting her bottom lip to stop her eyes from leaking. I can feel my own eyes fill in with tears. There's only time to ask her one last question. If I find Mum again, what should I do? Alba wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. Tell her that I love her, she says. Then she closes the cardboard flaps over my head, leaving me alone in the dark. The laptop screen is glowing green, the flashing zeros and ones calculating the quantum state of the ammonite necklace inside the quantum entangler. Outside the box, I hear the shed door open and the sound of Grandad Joe's voice. But before I have the chance to hear what he's saying, the Geiger counter clicks and the universe shivers into silence. It's happened again. Wiping a tear from my eye, I take a deep breath before I reach up to open the lid of the box. This time, will Mum be waiting for me outside? So where will she be there? It's so exciting. The work for this chapter, I'd like you to do a bit of research about an ammonite, and I'm hoping that you remember when we did fossils in year 3 that that will help you greatly. So if you could maybe sketch a picture and write something about what is an ammonite, as much as you can find out, that would be great. And I'll speak to you soon.